This conference will now be recorded.
So hi everyone, welcome to our Oracle Goldengate Microservices training. So today is our first session. So today we'll be discussing about introduction and overview, and we'll see how to download. So first of all, before commencing, let us discuss about agenda of the training. So the agenda of the training includes classic architecture. What is classic architecture? Overview and introduction to Goldengate microservices. Download and installation of Goldengate microservices. So we'll be downloading and installing Oracle Goldengate on microservices. So we'll be doing all these sessions on the pre-configured virtual boxes. So we'll be doing those on virtual box. So we'll download the session, we'll install. Then we'll do configuration of microservices. So we'll be configuring our DML replication using microservices. So we'll be setting up our replication. So whatever components like extract, data pump and replicate, how do you do that? We'll be discussing. Then configuration of parameter files in Goldengate MSA. So parameter files are the heartbeat in Oracle Goldengate. So how do you configure parameter files? We'll be discussing. Then performance metric server, how to monitor performance in Goldengate microservices. What are the components of microservices? What is service manager, administration server, distribution server, receiver server? And we'll also be discussing about admin client of Goldengate microservices and how it is different from GGSCI. So we'll be discussing about that as well. Last, we'll be discussing about deinstallation of microservices, how you can proceed with deinstallation of microservices. So before commencing, let us see Oracle database architecture. Oracle database architecture itself is a big topic. However, here we are going to just discuss about flavor, what is needed for Oracle Goldengate. So Oracle database architecture is divided into two parts. First is memory structures and second is your Oracle database files. So your basically this part, it is known as instance. So instance has your memory components as well as background processes. Now your memory components constitutes your library cache, data cache, data dictionary cache, database buffer cache, redo log buffer, Java pool, large pool and other pools as well. Now, your background processes involves pmon, smon, database writer, log writer, checkpoint, and there are multiple other processes as well. Now, your Oracle database files contains your data files, which are the actual files where your actual data resides. So when you do select star from department, select star from employee, from where do you get that data from? You get that data from your data files. So data files stores your actual data. Control files are the heartbeat of Oracle database. So they contain your metadata information. And redo log files are the files which are responsible for capturing the changes from your source, from your database. So whatever changes happen, say for example you are doing any insert, update, delete, or you are making any DDL changes, all those changes gets recorded into your redo logs. Now redo log files are limited. So what you do, you take the backup of these redo log files onto the OS because of size limitation. So backup of a redo log files gets taken on the operating system, and the backup of redo log files are known as archive log files. So whatever changes you make to the database, those changes are called as transaction logs, and in case of Oracle, these transaction logs are redo logs or backup of redo logs, which are known as archive logs. So these changes, these log files contains your whatever DML you do, whatever DDL you do, it contains all. So these files, these logs contains committed as well as uncommitted transactions. However, I believe most of you know that Goldengate capture only committed transactions. Even though your log file contains committed as well as uncommitted data, however, Goldengate captures only committed transactions. So how does the data gets recorded into redo log file? It gets recorded using your log writer process. So what happens? All the dirty buffers get recorded into your database buffer cache. Now from database buffer cache, a copy of change, say for example, a dirty buffer has been written over here. You insert, updated, deleted any record. So what happens? Your database writer process will write that data from database buffer cache to data file. Now a copy of that data will be returned to the redo log buffer where all the changes will be present. Now all those changes, say for example insert, update, delete, they will come over redo log buffer. Now what happens? From redo log buffer, the data gets recorded into redo log file using the log writer process. So this log writer process is responsible for writing the data from redo log buffer to redo log file. There are various conditions at which log writer writes the data from redo log buffer to redo log file, like every 3 seconds, or before database writer process writes, or at every commit it writes the data. So basically these are the files, redo log files or archive log files, which are important for capturing the data from your for your Oracle Goldengate. Not only Oracle Goldengate, when we talk about any change data capture tool. So there are other change data capture tools available in the market like DataGuard as well. Where does it get the data from? From these files. Or when we talk about it, Goldengate competitors like SharePlex, it reads the data from the same location. So all the locations, means all the change data capture tools, reads the data from uh, reads the data from log files of the database. And in case of Oracle, these log files are redo log files or backup of redo log files, which are known as archive log files. Okay. So let us now discuss about Oracle Goldengate classic architecture, how classic architecture works. So you have source database and target database. So basically with the introduction of 12c R3, Oracle has introduced two uh, architectures. One is classic and another one is microservices. So how what is the difference between classic and microservices? Let us see. So first of all, let us discuss about classic architecture. So you have source database and target database. Now each database has its own transaction logs. In case of Oracle, we call them redo logs or backup of redo logs, which are archive logs. So what happens? You make the changes to the database. The changes are made to the database. Now as soon as you make the changes to the database, those changes will be recorded into the transaction logs. Now once the changes are recorded into transaction logs, what happens is, as soon as the changes gets recorded into transaction, Goldengate capture process reads the transaction logs in sequential order. It reads the data, it reads the transactions in sequential order and captures only committed transactions. Capture only committed transaction. Remember, as we discussed, it contains committed as well as uncommitted transactions. So Goldengate captures only committed transactions. Now once the transactions are captured by the capture process, which is also known as extract process, it writes them to the trail files. Now these trail files are the binary format files which are platform independent. Now as soon as the data gets written into local trail, the Goldengate data pump process reads the data out of your local trail, send it over TCP/IP network and write it to trail file on target, which are known as remote trail. So Goldengate extract process or capture process reads the data from source logs, writes it to local trail. Once the data becomes returned into trail files, pump process sends the data in the trail files over TCP/IP network and writes them to the trail file on target, which are known as remote trail. As soon as data becomes available into remote trail, Goldengate delivery process or replicate process apply that data to the target database. So you have three processes available in classic architecture: capture process, pump process, delivery process. On top of that, you have another process which is known as manager process. Now manager process is the process which manages all the Golden Gate components in its environment. So all this is done at the command prompt. So all this is done at command prompt. Now what happened? So another thing is, in classic you have bidirectional available as well, same with microservices. So now in bidirectional, what happens? The other side act as source. So in bidirectional, what happens is application can be connected to any side and replication will happen to other side. Now in bidirectional, what happens is both the sites act as source and both the sites act as target. So now site B database will have its own transaction logs. So you will configure Golden Gate extract process, which will read the transactions from transaction log, write it to local trail on site B. Then data pump on site B will send the data over TCP network and write to trail file on site A. Then Golden Gate replicate process on site A will apply the data by reading the remote trail file to site A database. So your classic architecture, you do everything through command prompt. Now, what happened with the introduction of 12c R3? Golden Gate introduced the new concept which is known as microservices architecture. So what happens in microservices is, so far the issue was like organizations need Golden Gate expert. So being a command prompt technology, what happens is organizations are unable to find, because still Golden Gate is very niche technology. We have to understand that it's not like many people know that, and Golden Gate is getting popular day by day. Another reason for microservices is with the introduction of microservices, Oracle has ensured that this technology is not going to die, because all the technologies are subsequently moving to microservices to ease the maintenance, to ease the configuration, to ease the monitoring part. So Oracle Golden Gate Microservices is a new REST API microservices based architecture which enable us to configure, monitor and manage Oracle Golden Gate services using web-based user interface. So what was happening in classic architecture is everything is at a process level. So this capture is a process, pump is a process, delivery is a process, manager is a process. Now in microservices, what they have done is everything is at a service level. So everything runs as a service now. So it manages Oracle Golden Gate services using web-based user interface. So you have GUI configuration available, which you will use to configure, monitor and manage Oracle Golden Gate environment. So with that, so until 12c R2, until 12c R2, you had only classic architecture. Now with the introduction of 12c R3, you have classic as well as microservices. Now another thing which people get confused is integrated and classic. Now don't so we are right now talking about overall architecture. So integrated and classic still exists, and they exist in classic architecture as well as microservices architecture. But remember, classic and integrated are the types of your extract and replicate. They are not type of your architecture. I again repeat, classic and integrated extract are type of extracts. Classic and integrated replicates are type of replicates, but they are not architecture. So this is the architecture we are talking about. So you have classic architecture which contains classic extract and integrated extract, classic replicate and integrated replicate. Similarly, you have microservices architecture which contains classic extract, integrated extract, classic replicate and integrated replicate. You'll also see that there are other types of replicate which has been introduced, like parallel integrated replicate and parallel non-integrated replicate as well. So we'll discuss those when we'll move forward. However, what I mean to say is You can consider your classic architecture as a traditional architecture as well, and microservices architecture is the new RESTful API based architecture. Now, another thing is most of the organizations are using the classic architecture. Now they have to upgrade to microservices architecture. So what you have to do, you will have to do a fresh install and migrate to the new architecture. You cannot upgrade your existing architecture directly to the microservices architecture. So you will have to do the fresh install and point your directories accordingly. So what are the components involved with microservices? So
So, Ashish,
before
one
discussing
question.
regarding microservices components, let us discuss about a classic architecture components. So your classic architecture components include manager process, extract process, trail files, data pump, replicate. Along with that, you have collector process as well, which runs in the background. So there are 6 components in classic architecture. So manager process manages the Oracle Goldengate environment. Extract process, it does the capture part and runs on source. Trail files, they are binary format files which are platform independent. Data pump, it sends the data over TCP IP network. Basically, it does the messenger part, and it is also known as secondary extract process. However, data pump is optional component. Trail, then you have replicate process. Replicate process runs on the target system and is the data apply mechanism in Oracle Goldengate. Along with that, you have collector process, which is invoked when data pump process communicates with target manager, and target manager then starts the collector process. So collector process is a background process which receives the changes sent over TCP/IP network by the data pump process. So these are the 6 components of your Oracle Goldengate classic architecture. Now let us discuss about microservices. So before discussing about microservices components, any question from anyone so far?
Yeah, Ashish, I have one question.
Yeah.
Ashish, if there is older configuration already set up with 11, Golden Gate 11, and then there is no chance of downtime. So in that case, how a fresh installation will work? Like it's a OLTP system where billing is going on every second.
So if you want to use microservices architecture, basically you have to do the fresh installation. So what you can do, you can run the classic architecture as it is going, and you can do the fresh installation of microservices, do all configuration, and do the cutover during the night time when there will be some downtime needed, at least of 20 minutes to half an hour. So you can decide that cutoff time like later in the midnight or after the midnight timing when there is less system load. But yeah, you cannot just upgrade your or migrate from classic to microservices. You have to do the fresh installation for microservices.
Okay.
Okay. So
Hello? Hello?
yeah, Lovit.
Do we need a license in order to use this microservice architecture?
Yeah, definitely it's a licensed product. However, I'm not in means I cannot comment. Is it different license from Oracle Goldengate traditional architecture? For that, you will need to connect to Oracle sales team because the license part is handled by them. It's completely financial part. So the answer to your question is yes, license is required. How
Okay.
how much it costs and other queries I cannot answer. That will be answered by Oracle sales team.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. So what are the components? So we saw the components of your classic architecture. Now, what are the components involved with your microservices? So these are administration server, service manager. So all these runs as a service. So once we'll do installation and configuration, you will see that how these servers are configured, how do we install Goldengate, what all things gets created. So we'll see everything. So the components involved: administration server, service manager, receiver server, distribution server, performance metrics server. So administration server, you can consider like current manager process which manages your Oracle Goldengate environment. So administration server administers the Oracle Goldengate environment. Service manager is watchdog for all the services. Receiver server is basically replacement of collector process in Classic. So basically collector process in Classic has been replaced by receiver server in microservices. Distribution server in microservices is replacement of data pump process in Classic. So basically data pump process of Classic architecture has been replaced with distribution server in microservices architecture. Then you have performance matrix server. Now this performance matrix server has also been introduced or is also part of Classic architecture from 12c R3 onwards. So you can graphically monitor your Oracle Goldengate environment in Classic as well, like what all processes are running, how it is running. All these things are shown in performance metric server. So we'll discuss all of these. You'll get to know about all of these services and server once we start our installation and configuration. So let us first of all try to download Oracle Goldengate microservices first, and then we'll install Oracle Goldengate microservices. Okay, so to download Oracle Goldengate microservices, you definitely need Oracle. So what we'll do, we'll log into, we can directly go to Google and type Oracle Goldengate downloads. It will take us to OTN site. So I'll click on Oracle Golden. So the latest version of microservices they have introduced is 19.1 as well. So see, Oracle Gold, they have changed the look and feel of OTN now. So this is the one. So remember, whenever you are downloading any software, always note down what is the platform data and database type you have. So in my case, the virtual box I have, the platform which I have is Linux, and database which I'm going to use is Oracle 12c. So now I have to search for binaries which are available for Linux. So the latest binary available for Linux is 19.1.0.0.2. So this binary, so remember each Goldengate binary, either you are using for Classic or microservices, they are platform dependent and database dependent. So say for example, if your database is non-Oracle, so microservices is currently available only for Oracle database. It's currently not available for non-Oracle database. So you need not to worry when you are using microservices. Say for example, you are using traditional, then you will see like for DB2 you have different binaries. For DB2 on AIX, you have different binaries. So for each platform and each database type, you will have different binaries. Now, say for example, so this is the 19.1.0.0.0.2. You can download 19c. Now, you can accept the terms and condition and download the binary. It will ask for Oracle username and password, so you can provide. Once you provide that, the download will start. Now I face some of the question like my student wants that they want to download 12c binary, 12.3 binary. From where they can find 12.3? Now remember 12.3 won't be available on OTN. So for downloading the 12.3, binary, you can log into edelivery.oracle.com and get the 12.3 older binaries which have been with the previous versions which you if you want. So you can directly log into edelivery.oracle.com and get the binary from here. It's easy. So I'm not going to go into that how to search. So once you log into edelivery.oracle.com, you can just search your binary over here and you'll get the list, and then you can start the download. Okay. So this binary which I'm downloading, it will be in zip format. Now once you have it downloaded, you can transfer it using WinSCP or FileZilla or any other software. So I've already transferred this binary to both my Gate 1 and Gate 2. So I have two virtual boxes available. One is Gate 1 and another one is Gate 2. So Gate 1 is going to act as source for me, and Gate 2 is Gate 2 virtual machine is going to act as target. So I need on each server I need to install. So now I'll log in. Welcome one. So let me so I have so what you can do, you can download the microservices binary and transfer to any location. So I have transferred it under /home /Oracle location. So this is the regular Goldengate binary. Okay, I think I don't see it, then I will transfer it now. Let me check Gate 2. Might be I might have transferred to only one server, not to both servers. Let me verify. So /home /Oracle. Anyways, it's getting downloaded, so I can transfer it now. So yeah, this is the one for which I have transferred on Gate 2. But on Gate 1, I think I didn't transfer, so I'll transfer it now. So I'll log into WinSCP. 192.168.56.102. Well, okay, so I transferred this binary. So this is the one I transfer to this /home /Oracle. So once it gets transferred, so it's a zipped file. So I'll need to unzip and run the installer. So for the download and installation part, we are going to follow activity guide 1. So activity guide 1 is step-by-step guide which tells you how you can download the microservices binaries. So you can download the microservices binaries. So latest available is 19, and you can download 12.3 binaries from there as well. And then you can transfer those binaries once download is completed. Okay, so once the binaries get installed, next we need to install the binaries. So for installation purpose, we are going to follow activity guide 2. So activity guide 2 is step-by-step installation guide, which tells us how to install Oracle Goldengate. So binaries are getting transferred. So first thing what we'll have to do, we'll have to unzip the binaries as well. So remember, first thing what you have to do with microservices installation is you need to create three directories. Basically, these three directories are home. One is microservices Oracle Goldengate home. Second is service manager home, and third one is deployment home. So we have to define three directories in order to install Oracle Goldengate. Before we proceed to install Oracle Goldengate, we need to create three directories. So you can define any name for them. So 123 underscore MA refers to, I refer it as microservices architecture home or OGG home. 123 underscore SM is service manager, and 123 underscore deploy is deployment home. However, I again repeat, you can name them anything. So just for my reference, I'm referring them as MA, SM, and deploy. So what I'll do, I'll create three directories. You can create anywhere. So I'll go to so I'm at location /home /Oracle. So what I'll do, I'll go to U01 app Oracle product. So here I'll create three directories: OGG123 underscore MA, OGG123 underscore SM, and OGG123 underscore deploy. So three directories has been created. Same thing you need to do on target. So on target, you can choose any location as per your requirement. App Oracle product. I'll create OGG123 underscore MA, OGG123 underscore SM, OGG123 underscore deploy. So I have three directories created on source, three directories created on target. You can have any name. I am naming them as OGG123 underscore MA, SM, or deploy. Okay, now the binary seems to have been transferred. So now what I'll do, Oracle slash. So what I need to do, I need to unzip. They haven't been transferred completely yet. Should be. Yeah, it seems to be transferred completely. But when I see it over here, let me open another terminal. Here it shows it has been transferred completely. I think it didn't go through. Let me transfer it again. So in the meanwhile, while it is getting transferred on Ggate 1, we can start our installation on Ggate 2. Okay, so the installation part will be same on both. So first thing what we need to do, we need to unzip the binary. So I'll go to /home /Oracle. Now I'll unzip it. It will unzip the binaries. So as soon as unzip is, so installation is pretty straightforward. You need to create 3 directories, unzip the binaries, and then run the run installer. Then once the installation completes, then we define the service manager, and then we also create the deployment. So in the first session, we'll discuss about installation of Goldengate microservices. So inflation is happening. As soon as inflation is done, we'll get the installer unzipped as well.
Hey, Ashish, the quick question.
Yeah, Uday.
Hey, so can we just do this installation on a high availability HA?
Yeah, you can do it on rack as well.
Okay.
So you'll see once you do that, so you will see that you can integrate your Oracle Goldengate with, you can integrate it with XAG as well for high availability. So this microservices is supported for both standalone as well as rack databases.
Okay. Thank you.
So unzip is in progress still. In the meanwhile, any question you have, you can ask.
Yeah, what is the difference between like 12C and 19C, these microservices? Is there any kind of specific
Okay,
difference?
so there were some bugs like in 12C R3, there were some difference in look and feel. 19C has some good looks, and some bugs were also there which have now been fixed in 19C. However, the thing is, I'll tell you, means that should not go on air, but my personal is like, with every technology, like Oracle has moved to release new technologies every year, right? Like 18C, 19C. So now when they are releasing their product every year, you don't see much changes except few bugs being getting fixed. So apart from that, means personally, I don't find any big change. So even if you use 12C R3 or 19C, it doesn't make much difference. But yeah, 19C is latest, so it's better to use 19C.
Are
Ashish,
there
this
any?
Kadir.
Yeah.
Actually, you taught us only integrated capture in the training, but also in my environment, we only have integrated capture. So, how do I deploy microservices on top of it?
In microservices on.
On top of integrate, we have integrated capture, not classic in our
Okay,
environment.
so we discuss Kadir. Okay, so once we do the setup, you will understand what I talked. So I talked about, don't get confused between classic extract and integrated extract. Don't get confused. So we have two architecture. One is classic architecture, second is microservices architecture. Now, classic architecture contains classic extract, integrated extract, classic replicate, integrated replicate. Same way, microservices architecture contains classic extract, integrated extract, classic replicate, integrated replicate. So what you're talking about are extract types and replicate types. And these are the architecture. So you can call classic architecture as a traditional architecture where you use a command prompt to configure, monitor Goldengate. And this you can consider REST API based.
Okay, I got it. I understood what you said. Yeah,
Okay.
Uh,
yeah.
Ashish, um, can we just install this 19C microservices with a 12C database or vice versa?
Yeah, you can do that. So this 19C microservices, it support 12C, 18C, 19C databases. Okay. And 12C Goldengate also supports a 11G, 12C, 18C and 19C databases as well. Okay. Okay. So the installation of, sorry, unzipping of software has been done.
Ashish, I have a question. So when we talk about the rack, don't the Goldengate binaries have to be installed on the shared folder?
We'll discuss about that
Okay,
later on. Yes, you
okay,
are correct, but we'll discuss about that. We'll discuss about that later on,
okay.
because I don't want to get confused or other people get confused into that part. We'll
So
discuss that.
okay, just a quick question. So if you have installing on the same, I think when you're installing on the Oracle home that is not shared, so we'll have a different folder structure when we do rack.
No, you can use the same as well, or you can define separate. So in general environment, like when you talk about production, what we generally do is we ask for separate mount point for Goldengate. Like
Right,
here I'm using our or a U01 app Oracle, where
right,
Oracle is.
right.
So in production, the best practices, that's a very good question. So the best practice to install Goldengate in any environment, whether it is production or non-prod, you should always ask for separate mount point like Goldengate mount point, which with defined space like 100 GB, 200 GB. You will do all that part in design analysis, and then you install Goldengate over there. So
And shouldn't that mount point be shared between the two nodes?
so yeah, if it's rack, then it should be shared. So
Okay,
so it could be like not complete mount point could be shared. There are certain directories which should. We'll discuss about all that later on. Okay.
okay, yeah.
Okay. So now the binaries have been unzipped in this location. So I'll unzip it. Services, ship home. So inside it, we have disk one. Then here we have run installer. So to run the installer, let us set the display. So I'll do X host plus. So display has been set. So now I'll run the installer. So it will do some pre-checks. So same thing, what we are doing, we'll do on other site as well later on. So we'll have a so this is GUI based installation. You can also do silent installation just in case. What happens is in some of the environment you don't have GUI or Xclock available, right? So what you can do, you can perform silent installation as well. That's the best part which is available. So you need not always do GUI based installation. So can you see my
Ashish, Chandrasekhar here. I have a question.
so I'll provide you some time to for queries, guys. So you can
Sure,
type
sure,
if you have any question, you can type.
sure.
Okay, so this binary is supported for 19C, 18C, 12C, and 11G. So if you have 11G database, you can use the same binary. If you have 12C, you can use same. If you have 18C, you can use same, and 19C, you can use same. So now our database is 12C. So I'll select the third option and click on next. Now it is asking for software location. So basically here we have to provide a microservices home. So microservices home is U01 app Oracle product OGG123 underscore MA. So this will be the software location basically where my microservices will be installed. Click on next, then click on install. So the installation of Oracle Goldengate microservices will begin now, and once it installed, you will see that microservices will be installed in that particular location. So it takes roughly 1 to 2 or maximum 3 minutes to install. Yes, Leon, I selected 12C. The reason being I have 12.1 database. So that's why I selected 12C. So yeah, it should be completed. So it is preparing, copying the files, then it will link the binaries and then finish the setup. So as soon as it is done, you'll see that we'll go into that location. U01 app Oracle product. So now if I go to OGG123 underscore MA, you will see as soon as installation is finished, so 91%, 100% it is finished. Close it. So now you can see in this directory, earlier it was empty. Now you can see you will have all these directories created. So the installation of Oracle Goldengate microservices has been done successfully. So in the same way, the way you have completed the installation on one side, you will be doing the same installation in other side as well in Ggate 1. So we will do that, means I'll do that later on. So same way I'll do, same setup. So we'll have microservices installation done on both Ggate 1 as well as Ggate 2. Now, once the microservices installation is done, next we'll have to configure microservices. So first we'll be creating the service manager and we'll be doing our first deployment tomorrow. So in the next session, we'll discuss about creation of service manager and deployment in Oracle Goldengate microservices. So any question if you have, you can ask.
Ashish, Rajnish
So
Joshi here.
yeah, Rajneesh.
Uh, Yesterday I installed 19C without creation of these three directories. So
Okay.
do I need to delete that and then start it over from the database, or only I can delete this directory structure of 19C and start it over?
So what you can do, you must have done the installation only, right? You haven't proceeded with the creation of service manager, etc.
No, no, no.
So what you can do, you can define that location as microservices home. So
Mm-hmm.
like say for example, you installed you did the installation in U01 app Oracle. So you can
Correct.
define it as OGG microservices home, means you can define it as OGG home, and now you can create two separate directories like 123 and means any name you can give. I'm calling it as 123 underscore service manager and deploy. So you can create two separate directories, one for deployment and another for service manager as well.
Got it. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Got it. Thanks.
Ashish, the target side replication, it needs not to be on the target server. It can be installed on the middle tier also, right?
Yeah. Okay. So okay. So another good question, Sachin. So best part with microservices is it basically can have multiple deployments. Like this product advantage of microservices is it basically, so like many people have um, many organizations have multiple Golden Gate home defined on same server. I have seen like 30 Golden Gate home on same server because of multiple databases. Now what you can do here is you can have only one installation of Golden Gate even on middle tier, and then you can connect to different databases. So you can have one installation, and later on you will see we can create multiple deployments. So you will have one Golden Gate home, and inside that you can have 30, 50, 100 deployments defined. So yeah, Sachin, you can have installation of this Golden Gate microservices on some remote machine or middle tier as well. It's not
Okay.
mandatory to have it on same server.
Okay. Thank you.
So in the next session, we'll be discussing about service manager and deployment, and then we'll connect to our all the servers as well.
Totally.
Thanks, Ashish.
This
You said
conference will now be recorded. This conference will now be recorded.